Well, how are you? Where are you at, my people? Antony for sale in January. Story coming in from the court offside, and they don't hit lots of misses into their stories. But this is something that is really written all over the world. That Man United looks like they are gonna move on some players who have gonna hit obviously failed to thrive under Erik ten Hag, and I'm gonna be letting you know the hugest fact as to why this guy is really gonna be moved on. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, go into the lower right bottom corner, smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. And Rokan David is always my name. And I'm here to obviously talk about Bruno Fernandes' admission that this season is not really moving on as planned, and is like everything will obviously come to pass. And with his performance in the game they played against Poland, where he went ahead of his put in an assist and he was really given the man of the match award, we anticipate that his words that he said after that game, all before that game and after that game, will obviously come to pass. So how many likes on this video? I want to see 100 likes on this video, and we're gonna hit obviously charge for today, and let's see where we are really gonna be playing at. Erik ten Hag returned yesterday. I went ahead and obviously I went ahead to obviously do that video, and you guys are gonna hit to enjoy it hugely, and I'm like, right, that is really what you people really deserve to get in here. So excitement is buzzing in me because Premier League is back, guys. Boredom has been really huge. Boredom has been really huge. I tell you, I was really bored to the max that these international games don't really move me a lot, because for me, I'm this kind of person who limitedly rates what we call international football. That is it. I limitedly watch international football because of the huge drop-off. They are the juggernauts, like Portugal, France, Italy, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, They are those teams that are really juggernauts of the game, and you'll only really enjoy when they go to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Nations League. That is it. I wait for that. But I would rather watch the African Cup of Nations games, because I see to it that there is no huge gulf in class. There is no huge gulf in class, because African teams will obviously try to really put out some huge performances, you understand. But in Europe, there are really some games that you don't really want to watch a lot. But yesterday, I really had some two games I really had to watch intentionally, because I need to eat that at least these teams really match in class when it comes to levels of competition. Belgium versus France, it ended 2-1 in favor of France. I watched that one. I watched Netherlands, and I watched Netherlands taking on a side known as... I watched Netherlands take on a side called... Netherlands take on a side called Germany. So those are the few games that I really went ahead to watch. And even over the weekend, I watched Denmark versus Spain, because I knew that there was something good to watch, And I saw Eriksson continuing to obviously show that he's really back in shape, and then I also continue to see Rasmus Højlund come off the bench and really do the needful, and that's what I really went ahead to watch. But I'm not this kind of person, And even if you want to see some good games that are really balanced, South America is really some good game. There are some good games to watch. You understand? I think Chile drew with Argentina. Chile, is it Brazil beat Peru, right? So I don't remember, but if at all you want to really watch those games and really enjoy them, then that is the way to go. So let's get to Antony, because I've gone ahead obviously throw into that, because I thought that it was really very important for us to know. So Antony is for sale. Who has gone ahead obviously put out this story? It is none other than the court offside, who have gone ahead obviously preach this story to the world that Antony is up for sale. You understand? And he has told us that Man United have decided to let Antony leave in January. He is available on loan or a permanent deal. Ajax and Newcastle and Crystal Palace are all interested in the Brazilian. So that's what we've gone ahead to get in through from the man himself, known as Court Offside, talking hugely talking hugely about Antony. Antony is one of those players that came in throughout Manchester United, and in the era of Erik ten Hag, he's one of the most expensive signings that the club has ever gone ahead, obviously, to make. You understand? And in history, the most expensive signing of Manchester United is Paul Ebile Pogba. He came in for 90 plus million pounds, 89 or 90 million pounds plus. Then, followed by Antony, he costed us 86 million pounds. You can add on Harry Maguire for 80 million pounds. Then there came in Jordan Sancho at 73 million pounds. There comes in Rasmus Højlund, I think at 72 million pounds. There came in Casemiro at 70 million pounds. Now we go to that class of 60 million pound players. You can talk about Mason Mount and very many others that Man United have gone ahead to obviously buy from other clubs. So I tell you, Man United are really suffering a lot with Antony. And the biggest reason for me as to why they're really moving him on is that sorry about that. He was brought in throughout Manchester United by his former manager. And who was his former manager? His former manager was Erik ten Hag at Ajax, and he brought him, or he came with him at Manchester United. And the worst bit of it all is that if Antony maintained the levels he was at least performing in his first season, then we are like, all right, there is room for him to improve. But there is nothing that he's really doing. He's not scoring goals. He's not putting in assists. Even he's not having a very good eye test. I don't believe that Antony has really passed an eye test in the previous 2 seasons. He hasn't gone ahead to impress. And I'm like, something is not really right with this guy. When you look at Amadi Diallo, he comes in through and does the key basics of the game, and he only risks where he needs to risk himself. But for Antony, he has found himself in a position of not really putting in the required shift altogether that we need at the club of Manchester United. This is where things go bad for me. Even the basics of the game, he's not getting them right. And I'm like, what is exactly happening? You really question yourself about a player, professional as he is, and what he offers to the club of Manchester United. And secondly, you look at the amount of money that he really earns, close to £200,000 a week, that is Antony. That is really a lot of money for a player who is really underperforming at the club of Manchester United. And I'm like, he was supposed to be moved on in the summer of 2024. But the reason as to why they never moved him on? United wanted to obviously crack a deal with Bayern Munich to get us Malen. That Dutch guy who plays for Borussia Dortmund. Then Sancho crosses to the side of Borussia Dortmund, but Borussia Dortmund couldn't obviously get us Malen if I never got them Sancho, and Sancho went to the side of Chelsea. So that's how things really went ahead, obviously pan out, and I was like, it's really very bad, because if we had Malen in, I think would have gone ahead obviously having a player who can really play as a right winger and a left winger, and could obviously meet the requirements of the manager, and I think can offer a lot than Antony. You get now, the worry has always gone ahead to be which teams are really willing to sign Antony. But finally, we've gone ahead to obviously get in a set of teams that are really interested in Antony. When you look at this post that I've shown you on the screen, the list is there, and it looks like these teams all are really having a deficit in that right attack midfield position. Ajax are really looking to get him back. I think they cannot obviously buy him on a permanent deal. They can get him on loan. Newcastle, remember the player who obviously plays there, he's a Uruguayan international, Miguel Almiron. Looks like he wants to obviously move on and really go to the Saudi Pro League, where he's really going to be getting in some huge monies. And they don't have any other player that come in through and obviously get that job done and dusted. You know that very well. So that is Newcastle for you. Crystal Palace, you know how much they went ahead and obviously lost a player called Olise to the side of Crystal Palace, but they got in some huge monies, and they're like, we can obviously get in a player that can obviously do the needful. But I think it's only Newcastle that can obviously take this guy on a permanent. But if a Manchester United, with the contract that he signed with Manchester United, I think it's a 5 years and a further option of 1 year, 2.5 years now gone, meaning that he still has like 3 years on his contract, 3.5 years on his contract. Why don't we loan him to Newcastle in January, right? Or Crystal Palace in January and see how he's really going to operate? Because he might go there and really explode. And in the due course of him exploding, he might really regain his price. Because if he goes ahead and really plays just 6 months at Newcastle and puts in a very good shift, scores those goals, puts in those assists, and really gets back to his levels that we knew him at Ajax, then I think we can obviously get back a little bit of that money. We can get in like £60 million from the player known as Antony. So for me, I believe selling him on a permanent deal right now will be a wrong move. What we have to do is loan him to Premier League teams. Let's not loan him to Ajax. Loan him to Crystal Palace and Newcastle if they need him. You get 6 months there and see how he's really going to be operating. Then if he hits the ground running, then we can get some huge amount of money from him. Maybe even he needs a new start to obviously meet the rhythm at which Man United needs him to be playing at. You understand? Why am I saying no to Ajax? That's where he obviously thrived. And if at all he goes back and he thrives, teams will be like, no, that's what he was doing at Ajax. And when he came in at Manchester United, he failed to obviously put in the required shift altogether. So we are not going to buy him the amount of money you want, because there is complacency, or there is room for him falling off the cliff to get back to the Antony that was at the Manchester United club. So I think let's loan him to the Premier League teams and see how things really pan out for Antony. But I would on any day move him on and obviously see to it that we really find means of really either getting in a player on loan or leave the squad as it is, depending on how would have gone ahead to really shape up into these remaining months to hit January of 2025. So that's what we are getting in through from that side, and we all know that he's not really gonna be that kind of player that is really gonna turn around lots of things here at the club of Manchester United. But Amadi Diallo has really gone ahead to obviously overshadow him, and we are waiting to see how everything is really gonna be going into the mix. Now, let's go to Bruno Fernandes, having the worst start of a season at Manchester United in his career, because he's a player who is used to putting in stats and goals and assists in as far as stats are really concerned. But if you've been following this podcast for some long time, I've always had my reservations on Antony. You know that very well. I've had my reservations on Antony and what he offers on the field of play. Not so. If you people have gone ahead, obviously follow me up on several occasions, I've told you that I really have reservations on Antony. And I'm like, he's not the guy. Sorry, Bruno Fernandes. He's not that number 10 that we need, because he is really not a team player. You get? He is one of the most experienced players in the club of Manchester United in our attacking phase, but his attack is really very, very bad, because he doesn't put line breaking passes. He likes Hollywooding the ball, and that is really old fashioned. We need a number 10 that can do better. But he has also gone ahead and obviously accepted that things are not really moving on well in his first start at the club of Manchester United, because no player at Manchester United has gone ahead to put in more blind passes this season than Bruno Fernandes. And in his words, Bruno had the following to say. When I talked about a bad period, it was in relation to the 2 sending offs, and I found unfair. But that's part of the football, and I don't want to dwell onto that. He also did and said, the goals will come. I have scored a lot of goals in recent years, and I have a standard that I want to maintain. I hope to score on my return to help the club get back to winning ways. Now, if I'm Bruno Fernandes, I would really look out at a guy called Cristiano Ronaldo and what he's really offering for the club of Manchester United. That is it. I would go in and really look him, and I look at him while a mirror to his career and what he has always gone ahead obviously offer up for the clubs that he has gone ahead to play for. What makes you great is not scoring those goals. You can be like Harry Kane, that you've been at Spurs, you've scored very many goals, you've won golden boots, but if your team is not winning trophies, then all those cease to matter. I tell you, they cease to matter, because in this era where we are right now, we need a player with stats that help the team to win. This is where I've gone ahead to obviously ask very many people about Bruno Fernandes, that always he has been scoring goals. Have they led to United success, like competing with Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and very many more other teams? The answer is no, meaning that his goals that he scores sometimes coming through known to really let our team go to the next level. You get? Meaning that he needs to improve his game. He needs to be the magnet of the ball, and he needs to really put in a required shift altogether to obviously make himself look better. So for me, that is something simple I'm really questioning him to do. Just do the needful. Put in the shift that is really well required and leave the rest to the Lord. That is it. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below. Antony for sale in January. What do you make about it? And we are calling upon for your reactions into the comment section below about Bruno Fernandes admitting that he's into a very bad period and he promises to obviously become a better player. I sign out for now. See you later. Rokan David is my name, and bye-bye for now.